I got sued by American Express for a credit card that I never paid back.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but don't pay those credit cards.
If you're being sued for a past due debt, there's only one thing that you need to know, and that's this.
How can my creditor afford to pay an attorney hourly to sue me?
Welcome to the Audit Room, where we analyze real financial decisions from real people. We break down what went wrong and then provide helpful feedback that we can all learn from. If you are not already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, and then it puts you in for a free chance to win $150. The details are in the description. All you have to do is subscribe to the channel, comment on this video, and like this video, and that's it. You have a chance to win free money. Today's video is about one of the most crippling debts in the United States of America. And you guessed it, that would be credit card debt. Credit card debt has reached a staggering $1.26 trillion. And if you've watched my other videos on auto loan debt in the United States, you would know that auto loan debt is only a little bit more at $1.69 trillion, which absolutely blows my mind. Because auto loan debt, people are taking out $30,000 plus loans to buy new cars. With credit cards, it's just frivolous, everyday things that people are buying on Amazon. So how did we get to a point where credit card debt is barely trailing behind auto loan debt? That's incredible.
If you're being sued for a past due debt, there's only one thing that you need to know, and that's this. It doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. So let's say you fall behind on a debt. It goes to collections, you refuse to pay or you can't pay, and then ultimately they file a lawsuit against you. Now, assuming that you're smarter than 95% of the people who get sued, you respond to the lawsuit because if you don't respond, they're just going to get a default judgment against you and then it's just game over. So let's say you respond. Now, you've seen enough content to know that collectors need to prove their case. And let's say that in this case, you know that they can't do it. Let's say they don't have the original cardholder agreement. They don't have proof that they own the debt. So you win, right? Not necessarily. Ultimately, the case gets decided by a judge. And that judge is just a human being. And they've got their own biases and their own preconceived notions about the world. So you can win the case if you get one judge. Or if you get a different one, maybe you're going to lose it. And it's completely up to chance which way it's going to go.
So apparently, being sued for past due debts is so common. There are lawyers on TikTok that have built their entire careers specializing in that one thing. And surprisingly, from what he says, is some people win over technicalities and they don't have to pay back their debt. Don't count on that if you have debt, but hey, he's got to sell his services some way or another. So the problem is a lot of people think they're safe from being sued because their debt is $1,000 and under. And yeah, why would that financial firm waste all the time and resources to take you to court and sue you over that minimal amount of money? I mean, that's a drop in the ocean comparatively. There's another lawyer on TikTok who goes on to explain these financial firms will sue you no matter how much money you owe.
People always ask me, how can my creditor afford to pay an attorney hourly to sue me for a debt that's under $1,000? And what I tell them is, it's because most of these law firms are mills who work on volume, don't charge an hourly fee, but instead are simply compensated a percentage of the amount they collect from you. These debt collection mills file as many lawsuits as possible on behalf of large credit card companies such as Discover, Capital One, and Citibank. Like any industry, you have pigs and you have hogs. Pigs get fat, but hogs get slaughtered. One such hog was a place out of New York called Forrester and Garbus. This law firm filed 99,000 lawsuits over a 3-year period. If they worked every single weekday during that time, that would be 380 suits per day.
Now, I'm going to be completely honest. I had no idea there was a huge industry for just suing people over their debt. But it makes sense. These financial firms need to get their money back somehow, so they outsource all of the lawsuits to a different financial firm who just files hundreds of lawsuits a day. It makes sense. Even if you only win 20% of those cases that you file, that is just huge money. So let me get this straight. There's lawyers making multi-million-dollar careers out of defending people who are getting sued because they owe money from the financial firms they borrowed that money from. How are so many Americans getting themselves into this situation that nearly 4.5 million Americans are sued every year by these financial firms. Let's hear some of the solid advice from TikTok that's getting some of these people into these situations.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but don't pay those credit cards. Default on them credit cards. If you're young and you don't need your credit right now, if you're not trying to buy a car, if you're not trying to buy a house, why are you paying that? Most of that going to interest. You done f***ed up. You done maxed them out. What you're gonna be paying that for the rest of your life, homie. Don't pay it. Default. Let it go to collections. Let me tell y'all. When I was younger, when I was a young lad, no, but for real though, when I was younger, I said, you know what? I was like I was in the industry. I was a server, and I was like paying my credit cards. But I'm like, damn, I could have so much money if I was just not paying this right now. Because like it'd be rent, credit cards, broke again. I was like in this vicious cycle. So I said, and I was checking everything, and I'm like, damn, this is going to interest. Like I'm never gonna pay this. I remember did like a calculation for me. It was like 15 years. I was like, 15 years. Who has 15 years? Not me.
Please, for the love of all that is good, do not take this woman's advice. If your debt ends up going into collections because you stop paying for it, it's going to stay on your record for many years, and it's going to take a couple years until they just completely give up on trying to reach out to you if you're lucky and you don't end up like one of these other people that are getting sued over their credit card debt. One other thing I really want to point out about this is she said her credit card was going to take a whole 15 entire years to pay off. We don't have the numbers, but I'm assuming that is highly unlikely. See, what she was probably looking at was how long would this take to pay off if I just did the minimum payments. And credit card companies will always encourage you to do the minimum payments because that's how they make the most amount of interest. So yeah, you could have just a couple $1,000s worth of credit card debt and it will take 15 years to pay off if you do the minimum payments. Because remember, with high interest rates, you pay off a minimum, let's say it's like $30 a month. That credit card debt could be incurring $20-something a month in interest. So in reality, you're only paying a few dollars every month when you're doing the minimum.
I got sued by American Express for a credit card that I never paid back. What should I do? I mean, pay it. You know, if you got sued for a debt that you actually recognize and accumulated, the best option is to not just ignore it, it's to pay it. You can reach out to the law firm or American Express and come to a payment plan with them in order to settle and satisfy the debt. Otherwise, if you ignore it, then you could potentially have it lead to a judgment or even worse, a garnishment where they're pulling the money out of your paycheck directly and you don't have a choice in that matter anymore. So I recommend, again, if you happen to get sued on an account that you recognize, make sure to respond. You typically have 20 days to respond.
I totally agree with him. The easiest, least stressful thing to do in this situation is just to pay the debt off. Look, I know there's some TikTokers out there that say, well, I just stopped paying my debt and they never came after me and everything's good and the debt just fell off and my credit score recovered. Well, they're not talking about the unforeseen consequences. And just remember that those TikTokers probably haven't seen the end of that debt either. As we just saw, I just looked it up at the beginning of the video. It's estimated that about 4.5 million lawsuits are filed through the courts for these financial firms coming after people for not paying their debts off. The one TikToker we saw earlier, the girl who said, just don't pay your credit card off, nothing bad will happen. There could be a backlog and she could be on the list to get sued. She just doesn't know it yet. The absolute best case scenario here, and this isn't even a good thing, is your debt just goes to collections. Your credit score stays in a damaged state the entire time that debt is in collections. And then after the many years of it being in collections, let's say the creditor just gives up on collecting your debt and collections just drops the debt completely. Well, now you have to wait another 7 years for your credit score to completely forget about that debt that has been dropped. Best case scenario, you're still looking at over a decade of a damaged credit score and missing out on huge potential things in life, like buying a house. All right, well, that's all I can handle for this video. If you like the channel and the content, go ahead and subscribe. It enters you in for a chance to win free money, which I'm doing when I hit 1,000 subscribers. So you definitely want to get in for that. If you've got any crazy crazy financial related stories, you can drop it down below in the comments and you might get featured in a future video. Thank you for watching.